We had somebody who was going to help us and be there for us. It made me realize that your work is not separate from you. Not only do you talk to us about our work, but you go a little bit further and go, hey, how are you? Hassan would get you to the place where you can figure out what your goal is and what your steps are to get to that goal.
Lisa, I'm so excited to do this interview. I am so happy that you're here. It's been so long that I've seen you. But before I say anything, please go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Lisa Beal. I work for Last Chance for Animals. I'm a campaigns manager, helper in accounting, kind of all around person. It's a nonprofit, so we wear a lot of hats.
And how long have you worked with LCA?
Full-time for about 3 years now, but it's actually a family business. So I've been on and off working for them for probably 15 years now.
For the people that are watching, what does LCA stand for?
LCA stands for a strong nonprofit that fights for animal rights and being true and honest and helpful to our supporters and to the animals.
Now, before we started working together, before you got to know who I am and what I do and my company, what was happening in the nonprofit that was not working based on performance, based on the operations?
Well, there's a lot of things that was happening. We didn't have enough people at the time, and a little bit during after COVID, so people had left. Our employee number was down. So we had myself and some other people. We didn't have a lot of experience in social media marketing, email campaigns, things like that. So we had a tiny glimmer as to how things should work, but we didn't quite know. So the work was really piling up and we were feeling pressured to do the best we could, as a nonprofit for the animals and for our supporters that give us money. And but we also at the same time felt like, how do we get all this done? And we're kind of sinking.
How about, your own operating system and performance, like from, weekly planning, organizing the documents, documenting, reflecting? How about how is that? What was going there?
Right. Well, right. For me personally, and definitely my coworker, we felt like we were so busy that all we did was rush from one thing to another. So there was never any reflecting. There was never any time to go back and go, oh, whoa, wait, we did that. That didn't work. Let's do it different next time. And then you forget because you didn't document, and then you do it exactly the same way the next time and you don't improve. So there was just this feeling of, I want to do better, but how can I slow down to do better when that doesn't make sense because there's so much to do? So you just get so caught up in the work and in your head that it gets overwhelming, and then you don't do anything sometimes.
Okay, awesome. Now, during the process working with me, of course, we had in a long engagement together. We did a little bit of the CMO stuff. We did a little bit of the performance stuff. We did a little bit of just the operations. And because you guys had, a couple things that needed help on, what was it like during the sessions with me?
I think the first thing that I felt, and I know my coworker felt also, was that we had somebody who was going to help us and be there for us. That's the main thing that it felt. Because being out there and feeling like you're just going crazy and trying to get work done, and there doesn't feel like there's an answer, is a really hard place to be. But when you finally talk to somebody and you were basically like, okay, well, wait, I can help you. Just we're going to lay it out. Slow down. We're going to lay it out. We're going to make this happen. And you are the kind of person that when you say that, it's easy to believe because it happened. And it does happen as you're talking to you. So it was comforting, it was empowering, and it was very just nice to have a feeling like that.
And through those experiences, through the marketing and through the performance and operations, if you could remember, what was your favorite thing about those experiences?
There's a lot, but if I can pick out one, I think when you made me realize that your work is not separate from you. You don't work and you're kind of miserable at your work and then you go home and then you're just fine. Or you don't just live your life and then go to work. Like, you are your work, you are in your work. And then when you're at home, how can you not think about your work? So you really do have to get it organized, settled, and understand how much you bring to your job. You are your work. You can't just go, oh, I hate it, let's go do it, it's done, and move on. You are your work. You should be proud of it no matter what. And the organization of it and having the tools and really understanding it well is really key to then going home and furthering that and realizing those same tools can be used in your personal life.
Based on the experience, and this is during our sessions together, after working with me, after going through the marketing aspects, after going through the operations, performance, what was it like after?
A few things. One, I still can't believe how much I learned. Just little things like make a big difference besides the large things. I mean, just little things like you just teaching us how to use Facebook in a way that I never even realized. I mean, that's just so huge for people who don't understand and have a nonprofit and are trying to do everything, and they need a little nugget of everything, really,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm.
Since working with you, to have the big picture that reflections on working and reflections on what you do daily is really important, because that just makes you a better person. And
Mm.
you can see what you did wrong at work, or not necessarily wrong. You can just see what you can fix at work. You can see what you can fix personally. And that the whole thing is a journey. It doesn't have to be so frustrating constantly.
And what would be the top, let's say, 3 outcomes that you got through this experience? The top 3 outcomes, top 3 results.
You taught me the customer journey. I knew that it existed, but I didn't realize how important it was for a nonprofit, and how we have all the tools. They were sitting there right in front of us. You just had to show them to us. Second is that there's a human being like you who cares so much and does such a good job that is willing to help people with, not only do you talk to us about our work, but you go a little bit further and go, hey, how are you?
Mm,
And then we dive into the work. You know,
yep,
that's really important. That's
yep,
that's everything.
yep.
And a third one, I don't know if I can find a third one, but I'd say just overall, there's just a feeling of, okay, I can do this. You know, there are tools out there. I can do this. I have to find the tools, use them, and then reflect and do better the next time.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Based on the experience with me, who do you recommend these programs that we work together? Who do you think this is for? Who would you recommend this for? And why would you recommend it?
Anybody. I've thought about that quite often, because I actually have a friend of mine who's wants to get into construction. He wants to be a contractor. And I said, you should talk to Hassan. Hassan would get you to the place where you can figure out what your goal is and what your steps are to get to that goal. Because that's really what it's all about. You can be somebody who's a nonprofit, find your goal, and then find the steps to get to that goal. You can be a kid in college. Go ahead. I want to do this when I get out of college. How do I do that?
Okay.
And the steps would work for somebody like that too. It would work for companies, personal people, anybody.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate you and your time. Do you want to say anything else to the person that whoever is listening to this? What would you tell them?
Call Hassan. Talk to him.
Okay. Awesome.
Talk to
Awesome.
him. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Let
Thank
me-
you, Hassan.
Thank you.